Hey gang, this is Mr. Nichols, and this is my very first video I am doing just for you guys. We're going to talk about simplifying radical expressions. The first thing we want to figure out, though, is perfect squares. When we square a number, it goes to the second power. So 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16. I'm waiting for you guys to answer me. 5 times 5 is 25. 6 times 6 is 36. 7 times 7 is 49. 8 times 8 is 64. And so on, right? 9 times 9 is 81. And 10 times 10 is 100. So these are all perfect squares here. So what we want to do in our radical expression, simplifying it, is we want to always be mindful of perfect squares. So we're going to get a radical that maybe looks like this, the square root of 20. Well, we can take our calculators and we can figure that out, what the square root of 20 is. And I have my calculator right here, so I'm going to say square root of 20 is something like 4.472 and so on, so forth. But that's not good enough for us, because what we're going to do is we're going to find out all these whole numbers, okay? So let's look at this. Let's say 20, what are two numbers that we can multiply together that equals 20, and one of them is a perfect square? Okay, so we could say 1 times 20, yes, 1 is a perfect square, but doesn't help us very much for what we're doing now. 2 times 10, is 2 one of the perfect squares? No, it isn't. How about 10? Is 10 a perfect square? Nope, it's not one of our perfect squares. What's another one? 4 times 5. 4 times 5, is 4 a perfect square? Yes. So whenever we're doing these, one of the numbers has to be a perfect square. So let's say we have the square root of 20, square root of 4 times 5, and we're expanding it. That's a word that you know that we've used. So then we have the square root of 4 times, and on the notes that I've been sending you, I've been doing a star as times. So if you see the star, that would be a multiplication sign instead of the X, okay? The square root of 5. So the square root of 4 times the square root of 5 equals the square root of 20, just like we see here, okay? Now, we have a perfect square. What is the square root of 4? It would be 2. So we would have 2 times the square root of 5. And that's our answer right there. We don't have to go any farther. If we took the square root of 5 and multiplied it by 2, we'd come up with 4.472 la-di-da after that. But we don't want to do. We want to stay right with this one right there. That is our answer in the simplifying radical expressions. Let's take another one. Let's say the square root of 24. Okay, what two numbers do you multiply together to get 24? Well, you have 3 and 8, but I don't see 8 up here or 3. Okay, we got 1 and 24. Now, we can't use 1, so that wouldn't work. 4 times 6, there's our perfect square. So we just do the same thing. 4 times 6 equals the square root of 4 times the square root of 6, and that equals, again, that would be 2 right there. So 2 times the square root of 6. That would be your answer. I hope you enjoyed this. I need for you to email me each day after you complete the lessons. Email me about this and let me know what you think of this, this little format here. All right? I appreciate your time and keep working.